EJ, there's so much to talk about. Let's just go ahead and launch right into it. One of the things, and we'll just kind of go over some of the big stories this week.
Sure.
One of the big stories this week, of course, is the discussion of funding for NPR. And now, one of the things that I personally have enjoyed watching is Jim Jordan and others talking about and talking to NPR and the CEO of NPR. This was a moment where Jim Jordan is asking her all about the bias over there at NPR.
Is NPR biased?
Congressman, I have never seen any instance of political bias determining editorial decisions, no.
In the D.C. area, editorial positions at NPR, he said he found 87 registered Democrats, 0 Republicans. Is that accurate?
We do not track the numbers or the voter registration, but I find that
concerning. Was award-winning journalist who worked 25 years at NPR, Mr. Berliner, was he lying when he wrote that?
I am not presuming such. I just we don't track that information about our journalists.
87 to 0? And you're not biased?
I think that is concerning if those numbers are accurate.
Well, those numbers are accurate, and of course, they're talking about, that is NPR CEO Catherine Mayer, and they're talking about the reporter, I think he was either senior reporter, editor, whatever it was, who worked inside NPR, and he did write a big, long piece about the bias at NPR. Not really surprising, though, is it, EJ? I mean, we've been watching NPR for a long time.
So, I mean, more power to you if you've been watching NPR for a long time, but I can't take it. So, I mean, there's been SNL skits about NPR. It's so bad, and it's been bad forever. As long as there's been NPR, there's been bias at NPR, right? So, I do find it interesting, though, that we're focusing on these hearings. We're focusing on, the sound bites of the really great Republicans who stuck it to the lady who's got all this bias and all of that stuff. I think what we're learning, though, if you actually look at the reaction of the people, right, the reaction of Republicans and people who voted for the Trump agenda and pretty much all over social media, left, right, and center, we're tired of hearings. We're tired of talking about stuff. We're tired of just constantly, 15-second, 40-second sound bites and,
it's if I may, it's soapboxing.
We want something done.
Yeah, it's soapboxing.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're tired of the soapboxing. You're right. We want something done. So when it comes to these hearings, don't fund them anymore. We have the majority. We don't need all of these sound bites. We could zip through these committees really, really fast. I mean, it could be just, yep, all right, your time is done. Let's vote. Done. Get it to the floor and vote, because we don't have that much time. Whether it's this defunding thing or any of the other DOJ initiatives, we don't have to go through. We're adults and we have the majority. We can say we're moving this through as quickly as possible because that's the Trump agenda that was voted for, and we have a very slim majority for a short period of time to get anything done. And so I think people are just getting really frustrated. In fact, it's not even just us regular lay people that are getting frustrated. Congressman Tim Burchett, I encourage everybody to follow him. He does these great videos as he leaves the Capitol each day and tells us what's going on, and he's getting extremely frustrated because they're not actually doing anything. They're talking a whole heck of a lot, but it's time for some action now.
Yeah, one of the things that Tim Burchett said is, and it's a 2-minute bite, but one of the things that he said, I have it, but I don't have time to play it now, is that there's a lot of talking going on, but there's not a lot of action. And basically one of the things that he said is that if you voted for Donald Trump, if you voted for DOJ, so far, we're not doing it. He actually also said, I'll probably regret posting this. I don't know if he did, but
yeah.
you
he
do
said
have...
he'll probably get in trouble for posting that, but he's not wrong. I mean, this is kind of business as usual, and we're tired of it. I heard you're going to have Mark Green on in a little bit. I would encourage you to ask Congressman Green, why aren't we passing these things through committee so much faster? Why aren't we codifying everything that Donald Trump is signing into executive orders and saying that he wants as part of his agenda? Because I promise we will lose the majority in the House if they don't.
And there's actually a lot of conservatives. I know you've been on social media this morning. Last couple of days, a lot of conservatives that are getting worried because, there's special elections that are happening around the country. Some of these are at the local, state level and also some at the national level for the House. And the concern is that Republicans, we've got the House, we've got the Senate, we've got the White House. And so Republicans, they're not really worried and they're not as activated as the Democrats are. I mean, to the point.
They're getting a little arrogant, I think. And, we should look at two big things that happened this week to show us how we need to stay or why we need to stay engaged. One is over in Lancaster and Lebanon counties in Pennsylvania, a very important race over there for a House seat, and we lost it by 482 votes. Now, all that work that Scott Pressler and the Charlie Kirk organization and lots of state and local Republicans did in Pennsylvania, now they're sitting back on their laurels and just, not worried. Well, that's what happens. 482 votes. The other big thing that happened this week is Elise Stefanik. Yep. So Elise Stefanik out of New York, she was supposed to be an ambassador. She was going to be leaving her post in the House, and the Trump team has asked her to stay and continue being that House rep from New York because this majority is slim. And we are in danger of losing it, especially when you look at the fact that, we only have a couple of more months probably before everybody takes off for summer. Nobody's paying attention to the news cycle. And then we're going to come back for maybe one more session, in the fall before Christmas and holidays. And then that's it. Then everybody's going to be focused on their next election and raising money, and instead of focused on getting things done. But I think the best way to ensure that we keep the majority after the midterms is to actually do something. We really need this Congress. I would encourage every single one of your listeners to call every House member, every senator that you can possibly call and tell them to get off their duff, quit pontificating, stop with the 40-second sound bites in your social media posts, and actually do something.
And here's the big alarm. Well, I don't have time now. Coming up, after I get back from, how's that for a tease? Coming up next, I'm going to tell you, EJ, one of my big worries if the Democrats end up with the House of Representatives. It is 6:45. Time to check the roads on WTN. The weather today, we're looking at sunny skies and a high near 80. On Saturday, late rain, high of 75. Sunday, watch for storms, a high of 78 degrees. Your complete forecast is coming up at 7 here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It is Nashville's morning news for Friday. EJ Haust is joining us. Dan Mandis here. So you know what's going to happen, EJ, right? So, and you talked about, Republicans, because you're right. Scott Pressler actually called out the Republicans on the socials. I think this was yesterday afternoon, saying that we're asking for help from the Republicans. We're asking for help from Republican or conservative organizations. We didn't get any. And now here we are. We've lost this race. So you're right. We can't get arrogant. We can't get complacent. And so part of my worry is that, and I know you share this, is that if the Democrats get a majority in the House of Representatives, I think it'll be 24 hours before they try to, go after Donald Trump, try to impeach him, do whatever it is that they can from a legislative standpoint to stop everything that he wants to do.
Yeah, and they'll succeed because right now there's about a 48%, 48 to 47, if I remember correctly from the latest polling, saying that general voters will vote for Democrats in the midterms. So it's very, very slim. Now, that doesn't take into account specific races in specific states, so hopefully there's a lot more strategy involved as we get closer. But yes, you're absolutely correct, and they've already started the process of filing articles of impeachment. So they're not going to stop. They're going to keep coming after Donald Trump. They're going to keep coming after every one of his cabinet members. And if they have the House, they will get some things done, because if there's anything we know about the Republicans, we know that they can't all be trusted either, that we've got a good amount of rhinos in there that are, friendly with the deep state.
What do you think of, I was talking about this earlier, I don't know if you were listening, but I was talking about this earlier, speaking of the deep state, signal gate, if you will, and everybody's talking about this. I do find it interesting that, Mike Waltz, a national security advisor, Mike Waltz, he has been named by many Republicans as a deep stater. I don't know if that's true or not. Perhaps it is, perhaps it isn't. I don't know. But it seems like the media and the Democrats are really going after Pete Hegseth and not necessarily Mike Waltz. Now, I do understand that Hegseth, they're accusing him of, putting classified information into this, into the group chat. But Mike Waltz is the one that put this Goldberg onto the phone thread, the text thread. But right. I find it interesting. They're really going after Pete Hegseth because they want him gone, because Hegseth has always been banging on the Democrats and the mainstream media from his time on Fox News.
Yeah, I also think he's an easy target, given his past with the females in his life, to put it lightly.
Right.
I think he's an easy target because he's got so much time on television, and he's, everybody knows his face. They've known, who he is and where he comes from for a very, very, very long time. They also have ready-made talking points when it comes to him because they just fought for his, against his confirmation. And so that's why, this is almost how it was a setup. I mean, I don't like conspiracy theories necessarily, but let's put this in perspective here. Not going after Mike Waltz, but using Hegseth, trying to get him to be the scapegoat and make his head roll. Okay, that should tell you right off the bat something is odd about this whole thing. The fact that it was The Atlantic. The Atlantic, really? I mean,
Yep.
Of all the news organizations, that's the guy who was accidentally in the group chat. Hard to believe.
Now, hold on. Hey, EJ, hold on. I need to know, when you said the word accidentally, did you have air quotes around it?
Absolutely. Could you see it through the phone? Yes. I definitely had air quotes. Yeah, accidentally in the chat. There's too many coincidences. Judge Boasberg being the guy who's handling the lawsuit that just coincidentally happened to be ready to file almost immediately. I mean, my goodness, all of it reeks as a setup of some kind. I don't know who to accuse or blame for this, but I do think that the Trump administration would be smart to not fire a soul, even if they find that there's a bad actor in there, because if you give these Democrats an inch, they will take a mile. Do not let one person get fired right now. Give it a couple of months and fire them kind of quietly without a big hoopla. They need to take some time off for health reasons and spend time with their family, find somebody else to replace them that you can trust, right? But I think for right now, just for optics and to go ahead and prove that the Trump administration thinks that this is a nothing burger, they have to make sure it remains a nothing burger and don't let anybody get fired.
EJ, how can folks find you on X?
Go to @EJ under the radar.